Hey, welcome back everybody. Happy Saturday. Hope we're having a wonderful start to the weekend, and hopefully we had a pretty good into February there, and hopefully a wonderful start to March. Now, in today's video, we do have a good bit to talk about, from still ongoing blizzard conditions out west to some rain in the east, and a very active week ahead here for a lot of folks, with multiple storm systems likely to kind of work on through parts of the country. And I'll let you know who could be seeing some severe weather out of that, and who could even be seeing some winter storm conditions even outside of some of the higher terrain areas of the country. So again, very active week here ahead for a lot of folks. Now, a couple of housekeeping things here at the beginning. I do want to mention I will not have a video out tomorrow, Sunday the 3rd, or Monday the 4th. I'll actually be out of Charlotte. I'll be back home spending some time with family for a couple of days on spring break, so a great time to do it. But I will be back definitely Tuesday morning with an update, as again, we'll have some pretty active weather really starting Wednesday through next weekend. So that'll be a great time to come back and give you some of the latest information. I think with all of that said, though, that's all of the announcements I have, excuse me, and kind of the plan for today's video. So let's go ahead and jump on into things and start off with satellite imagery like we normally do. Now, obviously, just like yesterday, we do have still that very active weather out west, as we mentioned, with just all of these kind of cooler cloud tops showing up on your map. In fact, yesterday we even had a tornado in portions of California, or at least a funnel cloud. I'm not quite sure if it touched down, but I did see the video of it, and again, very impressive stuff out there into, again, portions of California that saw those very active storms yesterday that even, again, ended up turning into blizzard conditions for a lot of folks. Now, also yesterday, we had a real soaker through much of the southeast. In fact, it started raining in Charlotte yesterday morning, and it didn't really stop until pretty late overnight last night. And that same storm system that brought that rain is now bringing some rain up into the northeast, as well as still some scattered showers and storms, back into portions of the Florida peninsula. So, again, still dealing with that system as well. Now, if you're kind of in between here into portions of the southern Great Plains, into the Ohio River Valley, and even into much of the Midwest, you're kind of in between these two storm systems, and actually dealing with relatively nice conditions today, and a pretty nice, almost spring-like day for a lot of folks there in that area I just circled on your map. Now, we'll start in the east here with radar imagery and kind of watches and warnings. In terms of severe weather, really not much here east of the Mississippi River. However, we are still dealing with some rainfall. So again, you'll see that showing up pretty good on your map here, raining from D.C. up through Philly, New York, even into portions of the Scranton area of Pennsylvania, even up into, the southern section of New York State here, kind of into Binghamton, up near Syracuse, Rochester, and even into the Catskills, seeing some rain on our Saturday here. And again, this blob of rain will continue to slowly kind of work off towards the north and east here throughout the day today, before eventually we kind of finally clear out going into tonight and into tomorrow. Now, I will also mention again that rain is even stretching down into the Outer Banks of North Carolina and all the way back down towards the kind of peninsula of Florida. Again, seeing some rain this afternoon through the I-4 corridor, and that will continue again throughout the rest of today, as I mentioned, with the northeast. Now, zooming in on the west coast, again, a little bit of a different story out here. Definitely some rain, but more of a snow event and a high wind event for a lot of folks out here. Again, this is not new. We've been dealing with this for a couple of days now, but today it's definitely a continuation of those winter storm conditions, again, for a lot of folks here from Washington State all the way down through California, Nevada, even into Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, and Idaho, getting in on some of those winter storm conditions and those high wind problems as well. Okay, now let's go ahead and start with the East Coast here. We'll quickly breeze on through what's left with this rain, and then we will kind of zoom on out, take a look at temperatures for today and tomorrow, and then we'll dive into the active weather out west, and then finally end the video off by talking about these potential storm systems on through the eastern half of the country, getting on into the middle and end of this coming week. So again, let's go ahead and get started here. Now, this is about noon this afternoon, so probably about the time this video is getting posted here, and you'll notice, again, those rainy conditions continuing up and down the eastern seaboard from really Maryland up through the east coast of Maine by the time we get into this afternoon, and again, that rain even moving down kind of through coastal areas of North Carolina and back into Florida. Now, bring this ahead into this evening, about 6 o'clock tonight, probably the time the sun is setting for many folks here in the East Coast. Again, still just a good solid shield of rain working on through much of the Northeast, likely a moderate to even heavy rainfall at times here rolling on through, and that'll really just be the theme today. What we saw in the Southeast yesterday is what we're going to see in the Northeast today before I think eventually By the time we get into tomorrow morning here, this is about 8 a.m. Eastern time, things slowly begin to clear on out, and you'll notice any rain that's left now is mostly offshore here, kind of into the Atlantic Ocean, but still cannot rule out some scattered showers left in the into New England and even back down into Florida as well, before we get kind of later on into the afternoon of Sunday and things really begin to clear on out here. Now, by the time we do get into Sunday, though, we will have to watch out because it's about this time a storm system is going to try to eject out of the Rockies here, and kind of some of that energy is slowly going to work eastbound, and that could definitely help to aid some more shower activity into the southeast, but overall speaking, really nothing too impactful here for our Sunday afternoon. Just, again, can't rule out a brief isolated shower anywhere in the southeast here, and overnight Sunday, that same general theme continues before we're waking up Monday morning, and again, we'll watch for a pattern change here as we kind of really warm up ahead of another storm system potentially here into that Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe. Now, taking a look at temperatures, this is for today's high temperatures. Again, the real winners here, the real warm temperatures that we're expecting to see, again, likely here into the central plains here, from Texas northbound into Oklahoma, Kansas, even into Nebraska and the Dakotas, and even into portions of Iowa. A very nice day ahead for a lot of folks. Now, I will mention, I don't think I really have any viewers up into North Dakota, but if you happen to be watching from here, you'll notice very kind of sharp differences from North Dakota and South Dakota. With high temperatures only getting up into the 20s there, kind of near the Canadian border, but getting up into the 70s here into southern South Dakota. So again, that's kind of due to a bit of a piece of low pressure that's kind of, again, broken out from the Rockies and is kind of swinging on through here, bringing some snow to you folks into northern North Dakota. But again, I haven't really had any comments mentioning anyone watching from there, so I'll kind of keep the time talking about that on the low, but just wanted to briefly mention that here on this map. Now, this afternoon in the east, again, much cooler in the northeast where we're socked into those rain showers and clouds, but again, just kind of slowly getting warmer and warmer the further west you get. Again, colder up into the northeast, more average, I'd say, into the Ohio River Valley and into the mid-Atlantic, and then again, much warmer once you get down into the Great Plains. Now tonight, again, kind of much like this afternoon, cooler in the northeast, definitely cooler out in the Pacific Northwest where we're definitely continuing to deal with that ongoing snow, and then kind of pretty warm overnight even into the Great Plains where we have those warmer temperatures this afternoon, and same story down into the southeast before tomorrow. Those warmer temperatures really kind of take hold here, and you'll notice definitely getting back to more spring-like temperatures through much of the eastern half of the country. Now, another thing I will also mention here is you'll kind of notice showing up by the time we get into Sunday afternoon, a bit of a cold front now showing up on our map. Again, this is some of that colder air out of the Rockies trying to now spill into kind of the, I don't want to say lower terrains, but definitely the flatter parts of the country, if you will. And again, this could aid into the development of some low pressure by the time we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, and could just lead to an all-out cold front in general, kind of sweeping on through the country. But this cold front doesn't look nearly as strong as the one we saw this past weekend, I believe it was, or kind of this weekend going into this past Monday that sparked some severe storms. Not quite looking that robust, but that could change again getting later on into the week with a second storm system that we will be watching, and again we'll touch on that here in just a moment. All right. Now, we've talked about the East Coast a little bit. Let's talk about this ongoing snow out west. And as I've mentioned for a couple of days now, it's all thanks to this big troughing of cold air that is dumped out west, specifically into the Pacific Northwest, really kind of seeing some of those more wintry conditions thanks to, again, that block of cold air. And that will continue to slowly but surely kind of continue to work eastbound over the next couple of days. And as I mentioned, by the time we get into Sunday, Monday, even kind of, getting out of the Rockies a little bit and getting up into the northern Great Plains, and even showing up as a little bit of a cold front here on our map. So we'll definitely watch that. But again, the bigger story with this trough will be the ongoing winter weather out into California, Oregon, Washington, and kind of surrounding states here. All right, so again, this is about this morning out west, so I think, we're at a 4-hour time difference here from the East Coast, so probably about 8 a.m. or so out, again, in Pacific time, and maybe about 9 a.m. or so Mountain time, and you'll notice more snow continuing to fall out here, and that's going to be a theme throughout today. You'll notice here we go into the afternoon, just more snow continuing to pile up into these higher elevations, and again, just more of what we've seen the past couple of days. Now, by the time we're waking up Sunday morning, I will note things kind of begin to calm down a little bit here. Now, today, again, much like yesterday, very windy, very snowy, but by the time we're getting into tomorrow morning, I think that snow becomes a little bit more scattered in nature. And as we continue through Sunday afternoon, again, definitely still snow working on through and, very robust snow squalls and snow showers, but things slowly taper off compared to what we've seen in the past couple of days. And if I move this all the way into Monday morning, again, a lot less snow kind of showing up on your map, but still noticeable, and again, still going to be impactful. Now, as we really move this ahead into kind of the start of next week, I think we get another burst of some heavy snow through Oregon and Northern California for our Monday afternoon and Tuesday as a secondary area of low pressure kind of moves on through. And that again swings on through even Idaho and Wyoming here by the time we're getting into Wednesday. But by the time we're hitting Thursday out west, again, things really calm down and we get into a much nicer pattern and a bit of a lull for most folks out here. Now, snowfall totals to come. This is now through kind of next week, and so through the next week or so, but really most of this falling within the next 4 or 5 days. And you'll notice, again, still plenty of snow to come. Out here into Yellowstone, maybe another 30 to 40 inches of snow on those mountain peaks, maybe 20 to 30 here through kind of the heart of Idaho. And then, again, higher totals out here into the Cascades and down into the mountain ranges through Oregon, where we could see near 50 inches of snow still to come. Now, as I mentioned in the past couple of videos, still the real winners, though, are going to be in the Sierra Nevadas, where, again, another 50 to 100 inches of snow not out of the question here, again, on these highest peaks here into California, specifically kind of north-central California, is kind of at the same latitude of Sacramento and San Francisco here. Again, really kind of getting socked in with some snow, and also some snow on the way here through Utah. Again, these ski resorts out here are going to be happy to hear about it, with, again, 30 to 40 inches of snow not out of the question, and maybe even more than that here into portions of the higher terrains of Colorado. All right, that's the snow out west. Now let's talk about the East Coast and what's to come this week. Again, as I mentioned, I think we could see a couple storm systems to try to track on through here and bring some active weather. And we'll move this map ahead to kind of Tuesday afternoon here. Now, I think this could be the start of multiple storm systems. Again, as I mentioned, you'll notice on our map here, we've got a little bit of troughing here kind of showing up into kind of the Ohio River Valley here. I'll kind of draw out that trough axis here with this dashed line. And again, this could help to lead to the formation of some low pressure Tuesday and Wednesday. I think it's very possible somewhere here in the southeast and the Ohio River Valley. Again, some storms could begin to fire, and we could even see some severe weather out of that, and maybe some winter weather into the northeast out of that same storm system going kind of later on into the work week next week, more into that Thursday and Friday time frame. Now, it's not the only area of low pressure we're watching out for. By the time we get into Friday afternoon, a much more robust area of troughing and potential low pressure kind of forming here into sections of the south central plains. You'll notice, again, showing up on your map in that blue. Again, could see some storms fire out of that, and I think this one is going to be more robust than the Wednesday storm system. In fact, this one could lead to more widespread severe weather and potentially more widespread winter storm impacts as well, anywhere from the northeast back into the Great Lakes region, and maybe even further south into the higher terrains of the Virginias and North Carolina. Cannot rule out some winter storm or at least winter weather impacts out of this storm system, again, about 7 to 10 days from now. So we definitely got time to watch it, and I'm telling you, the models are still, I don't want to say all over the place. They've come into a little bit better agreement, but still not quite hitting on the same numbers here. And again, by the time I get back on Tuesday for that video, I think we'll have a much better idea of what to expect. But let me go ahead and show you what we know as of right now. Now, I'll show you the latest European model that we have. Again, this is going into Monday afternoon. You'll notice here, again, the kind of a cold front showing up on our map, like I talked about with the temperature map earlier. And out of that cold front, we could get some low pressure to try to form here. Specifically, this is going into Tuesday afternoon. You'll notice some widespread storms kind of along the Gulf area and even some scattered showers kind of through the Ohio River Valley and through the northeast for our Tuesday afternoon. But it's really going into Wednesday afternoon here. That low pressure begins to develop at the coastline, and here we go into Wednesday. Pretty well defined low pressure showing up on your map, that helping to bring some showers and maybe again even some thunderstorms. Cannot rule out severe thunderstorms here for our Wednesday, kind of into portions of the coastal Carolinas and maybe even down into Florida. Now, the timing on this will definitely change. So this threat of showers and storms could move further west. It could, further east, or it could move further west. Again, we'll just have to watch the timing here. But if we do get something like this to happen, I would not rule out some stronger storms Wednesday afternoon. And eventually what happens with that same storm system on the European model is it kind of, again, continues to get its act together, rides up the coastline, and kind of takes a pretty classic nor'easter track here, and that could lead to a band of some winter weather into the northeast. Now, the European model has shown this for a couple runs now, showing some winter weather here, whether that be snow or ice. A lot of question marks still there. But nonetheless, again, showing a winter, honestly, just a winter storm here, here through portions of the Northeast going into next Thursday and Friday. So this is less than a week out now. Definitely need to continue to watch it. But watch what happens after that storm. Again, very impactful with some snow and ice in the Northeast, but another low pressure, this one, in fact, probably even stronger going into next Saturday and Sunday. This is Saturday afternoon. You'll notice here, again, a pretty impressive low pressure showing up right through the Ohio River Valley. This, again, with a track like this, could bring some strong to severe storms into the Carolinas, maybe Georgia, anywhere into the southeast, maybe even into the mid-Atlantic. But once again, this gets far enough north with enough cold air that we once again get some snow to break out into the Northeast about a week or so out from now, about 7 to 10 days, maybe even a little less than that, more like 6 to 8 days from now. So again, watching that here, and could definitely be interesting should that occur. Now, it's just one model. It's just the European, and again, it will definitely fluctuate over the next couple of days. If I show you the GFS model, again, a little bit better in agreement with the first storm compared to yesterday. Now showing, again, low pressure over about the same area here into the southeast, kind of right over the Carolinas and Tennessee here for our Wednesday. And as I mentioned, could bring some severe weather into the eastern Carolinas, maybe even Virginia, should this setup occur during the middle of this coming week. And much like the European model shows, that storm system tracks up the east coast and gets into the northeast, and then breaks out with some snow and ice for somebody here, potentially even into Ontario or Quebec, into New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, or Maine. And again, kind of surrounding areas have that potential for winter weather out of this. Now, again, you'll notice different than the European in placement and timing and, exact impacts here, but nonetheless shows a similar idea. So the models are coming into better agreement on that. And what they're also coming into better agreement on is, again, a more robust storm system after that one here, kind of starting Thursday afternoon into the plains and eventually getting into the East Coast here by the time we hit Saturday afternoon. And again, different looking storm system, but nonetheless, it's still there. And again, brings some snow and winter weather into the Northeast, and the GFS even tries to bring an upper level low with some mountain snow as far south as North Carolina here about a week or so out from now. And again, kind of brings a return to winter again on the backside of that. So definitely some differences between the two storm systems, and we'll definitely have to continue to monitor that, but just know that the potential does exist for some sort of winter weather and severe weather here in the week ahead. Now, showing you the chances of some winter weather, the chance of at least an inch of snow falling from our GFS ensemble members for the first storm system. So again, this is Thursday afternoon. You'll notice not off the chart numbers here, but enough to definitely mention about a 20 to 40% chance of some snow falling here through Vermont, New Hampshire, and up into Maine as well, with, again, even some higher numbers up there closer to 50%. The European model kind of agrees here with that same general idea, but again, the location is a little bit further south on the European, not so far north, even again getting down into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts, portions of the Catskills here. Again, seeing about a 20 to 40% chance of at least an inch of snow falling out of this storm system. Now, I will mention, again, the snow chances are there, but I'd be more concerned for ice, honestly, and the European has really been kind of a little more excited about this idea for some freezing rain or sleet. And again, you'll notice showing up here near potentially 0.2 of an inch of ice, not out of the question here for portions of New England, should an event like the European ensembles show occur here. So again, chances are not off the charts by any means, but definitely high enough we need to watch for some snow and ice potential again in the Northeast in that Thursday time frame of this coming week. So again, not very far away, definitely close enough we need to definitely consider that outcome and those possibilities. Now, severe weather, this map kind of throws a bunch of severe weather parameters together and gives us a general idea what is the likelihood we see some active severe weather. And if we move this ahead, again, I think this afternoon we could definitely see some strong storms over Florida, but then we get into a little bit of a lull before we hit Monday afternoon. And again, that first storm system I mentioned could lead to some strong storms into the Gulf from Texas and Louisiana Monday afternoon. In fact, I forgot to pull the map up, but the Storm Prediction Center does have a marginal risk kind of in the same general area that I have circled on your map. Now, moving this further ahead into the week, by the time we get into Tuesday afternoon, again, the Gulf Coast, again, could be victim to maybe some strong storms here, including the threat for some strong straight-line winds, maybe even a couple tornadoes, not out of the question. And eventually getting into Wednesday afternoon, you'll notice these chances die down, but still, as I mentioned, into the Carolinas and Florida, we do have some overlap of ingredients, but at this point, we're getting more than about 4 or 5 days away. And anytime you get that far away, the models tend to struggle, so the numbers are definitely going to be lower, but the pattern is still conducive for severe weather. And then, as I mentioned, that second storm system that could potentially come for our Thursday and Friday, look at this, already some higher numbers showing up on our maps here for potentially some severe weather down into the central Great Plains for Thursday, Friday, and eventually tries to work again eastbound for our Friday, Saturday, and could even work into the southeast by the time we get into next weekend with some severe weather. So definitely watching the severe weather aspect of that storm system, but also the winter weather aspect. Chances for a winter storm are definitely increasing through the Great Lakes into portions of the Northeast and definitely into Ontario and Quebec about a week or so out from now and going into early of that following week. And again, maybe even some snow potential down into the mountains of West Virginia, and potentially North Carolina. But again, still a lot of question marks there. This map being the European ensemble members and the GFS ensemble members. Again, a pretty similar story here, about 7 to 10 days from now with that second storm system. Again, could definitely be conducive enough to bring some strong storms, including some bigger snow totals. So we already talked about the strong storms, but again, could be conducive to bring some winter weather impacts here through the Northeast, maybe even portions of the Mid-Atlantic, Ohio River Valley, specifically northern Ohio River Valley into the Midwest, and then again into Ontario and Quebec. Again, just far enough out right now that we still have a lot of question marks to answer with that storm system. Alrighty, well, we discussed a good bit in today's video. Hopefully you found some use in it. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning, no video tomorrow or Monday, but I'll definitely be back Tuesday morning with an update for you all on kind of what to expect throughout the rest of next week with this active pattern ahead. With that said, though, again, appreciate you hanging out and watching the video, and I will see you all on Tuesday.